Basky, welcome to the Town Alone Basketball and Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Adam Hess, and with me this week, making his debut appearance to talk about basketball, a sport that we all hope he watches, it's Mike Regan. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. Haven't talked any basketball on a pod this season. So at first, when you were like, oh, we're not going to have a basketball Basky, I jumped at the chance to fill in for Tyler Carcara of the podcast. I'll try to fill his shoes. I think of him as somebody who knows ball a little better than me when it comes to the NBA, but I'm going to try my hardest.
Listen, all you need to do is about 15 minutes into the podcast, start talking about basketball for the first time, and that's the whole Tyler Carcara experience.
Send us off on a few tangents that are movie related or something, you know?
Yeah, wait for me in about a minute and a half to say, speaking of Joel Embiid, and then go, you know what I just saw in theaters?
There you go.
But Mike, we are a basketball podcast, and today, we got some news to talk about, Mike. We got some news to talk about.
We do?
Daryl Morey got fired after your Knicks dismissed the 76ers from the playoffs without really seeming to notice they were there for the entire time.
Uh-huh.
First off, should Quinn Snyder send him an apology basket for waking the demon that is the unstoppable New York Knicks? Second,
first of all,
was this deserved? Was it a deserved firing? And third, should I, as a Washington Commanders fan, be concerned that Josh Harris seems to not want to pay the luxury tax at all for the Philadelphia 76ers?
Well, first of all, I'll say, there was one report, sorry, I was trying to remember, that said that part of the issue with Daryl Morey is he didn't really put enough emphasis on team chemistry, which totally tracks because Daryl Morey is a total numbers guy. You know, when he was at the Rockets, he did the thing where he was threes and free throws are really the way to do this. So that kind of makes sense. I do think it was I understand why Harris and the 76ers moved on because they were looking at it as, well, it's kind of it's two sides. One, I get it because they expect success. And I think since he's taken over, their seasons have not hit the heights that they expected and that they want. At the same time, I also think that Harris and some people in that organization are they think their roster is better than it probably is, especially with Embiid and his injury issues. Is that fair to say?
I was wondering, you said that like you were going to keep talking, but it seemed like the end of the thought. So I didn't want to interrupt in case you were going to
I wanted to get your opinion on that, yeah.
Yeah, I think the 76ers definitely have a little bit higher of an opinion of their roster. That being said, they got HGH George, who played exceptionally well down the stretch and in the first round of the playoffs, kind of fell apart in the second round. Embiid, who after his appendectomy was relatively healthy and is no longer the centerpiece. Obviously, the centerpiece now is Maxey. They just drafted a guy who's going to finish top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting in a very, 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 very stacked rookie class in VJ Edgecombe. And then the rest of the roster is built out with dudes who can play. I mean, Kelly Oubre as the fifth starter there. They got a lot of good minutes out of Dennis Schroeder. They have dudes who can play basketball, but I think that if they had lost in the play-in, or if they hadn't traded away Jared McCann, who now looks like a super good asset on the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think that Daryl Morey would still probably have a job.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Tyrese Maxey guy, don't get me wrong. I like VJ Edgecombe. And to be fair, I've talked so much shit about him, but I do think Paul George had somewhat of a bounce back season. Nowhere near the highs he had earlier in his career, but still compared to last year, I thought he played a lot better.
Yeah, I mean after his HGH suspension, or we don't actually know if it was HGH, but after his HGH suspension,
I think it was horse tranquilizers.
I think that's what it was. You think he was going down instead of up? By the way, I said. I think I said Dennis Schroeder. I meant Quentin Grimes. I had thinking the wrong undersized guard.
Oh, yeah. Former Knick, I believe.
Quentin Grimes, yeah. You guys traded him away in the OG deal? I think it was the OG deal. No, wait. That was Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah.
Quentin Grimes and Emmanuel Quickly and Dennis Schroeder are all the same guy. I don't know what to tell you. um, but I just think that like the roster definitely wasn't good enough to compete at the top level, and making it to the second round of the playoffs makes that seem more stark when you just kind of get quietly swept out of the way by a Knicks team who has they've lost 2 games in the playoffs by a combined 2 points, and they've won 8 games in the playoffs by like 139 combined points or something like that.
Yeah, they ran into like the hottest team in the East, and that's just fortunate for them.
Yeah. So I definitely think they overvalued their team. That being said, like I don't know, man. Like I'll like Daryl Morey, all of his teams have had a lot of regular season success and oftentimes a lot of playoff success. But you know, can you show me the time that we walked into the season thinking a Daryl Morey team was the favorite to win a conference? Can you show me the time they made an NBA Finals? Like Daryl Morey is a very good roster builder, but he needs to go outside of his comfort zone a little bit. Like he needs to. Like the money ball aspects to the game have changed. It's like literally about money again, and he's just throwing as much money as he can to keep a big offensive big man, Tyrese Maxey and Paul George on the same court when now Oklahoma City and San Antonio are about to dominate the league, paying rotation players, important rotation players like Chet Holmgren, AJ Mitchell, Wemby, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, peanuts compared to what players like Embiid are making.
Yeah, like the idea of having a big 3 is not like the thing anymore in the NBA. It's like having the superstar and then like the good, like the really good couple other players, and then just like solid depth from there on down. There's no more like big 3, like, obviously the biggest example would be LeBron, Wade, and
Chris Bosh.
Had a heart problem. Thank you, Chris Bosh. Or obviously prior to that, like what Boston did, assembling Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and
dude, what is with these third guys? Ray Allen. It was
Ray
Allen. It's
Ray
he got
Allen.
game. Ray Allen.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I was like, it wasn't Rajon Rondo. I know that.
Rajon Rondo was on that team though.
That's true. Like we watched as Phoenix tried to go the big 3 route, and it just went terrible.
Yeah, and I think that that's a little bit like the conversation around what future team building is going to be is a little bit more nuanced, because I think we're entering into the Wemby era.
Yeah.
Like, point to me the team in 2 years that's going to be able to beat a healthy Victor Wembanyama for 7 games.
I mean, I think OKC will still be
in
good.
2 years. No,
they're gonna suck.
No, I mean OKC will be good, but like Chet's not holding up against Wemby. You're gonna need Shea Gill to score what, like 40? I mean, Wemby in Game 5 had 39 points. He had like 6 rebounds and 18 points in the first quarter in Game 6 or Game 5, whatever it was.
I mean, who knows? Like maybe Luka and Bronny just start crushing it, become the biggest like 2-guy threat in the league.
So I say all that to basically say I don't really think it matters who your GM is for like at least the next 5 years. The champions are going to be OKC or San Antonio. It really seems like. And I know we've done this before, like in the early 2010s when we crowned Chicago as the team to come out, Chicago or Cleveland as the team to come out of the East every year for the next decade. And that didn't exactly work out, but I don't know, man. Like Wemby is just so athletically different than anyone else I've ever seen play basketball. That I don't think it matters if you have Embiid and Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. I think that everyone should appreciate this year as the last year before it feels like we're going to get sick of San Antonio Spurs being in the NBA championship.
I mean, you think like Wemby, Jokic, Super Flag, like is like that's just the new thing. Like get like the superstar big who can also shoot.
It's been the thing for a minute now because Embiid was also that. Like, I would say that's basically been the 2020s has been the era of get the superstar big. I mean, even Cat for the Knicks this year. Like, what Cat's doing in the playoffs, that's shit that's... Like, outside of Brunson, the thing propelling the most to the conference final has been Cat.
Yeah, and I we'll touch on that in a minute when we get to that segment. But that's very true.
You just need an offensively talented big man now. That's just how it works. And Unfortunately for the Western Conference in particular, they now have to deal with an offensively and defensively talented one in Wemby. But with that, let's get to our main segment here. I think that was the only major news item we need to touch on is Daryl Morey getting fired and how it's all his fault, and I should be worried about it as someone who supports a Josh Harris team that he's going to spend way under the cap. So what we're doing, in honor and respect to Mike coming back on the show, we are going to get all the lapsed fans caught up on the playoffs as we head into the conference finals. Our next basketball podcast will be firmly in the middle of the conference finals, which are starting rain or shine on Wednesday. God, I can't stop sneezing.
Hump day?
That's a funny thing for you to say because obviously in that commercial he goes, Mike. Hump day?
Exactly. It's my commercial.
It's your commercial. Now I just need a commercial. But we're going to do a lapsed fans guide to the NBA this year so far. And basically, what are the storylines you need to know? Mm-hmm. What are the things that have happened leading into the playoffs and during the playoffs? So that if you're, say, at your girlfriend's dad's barbecue over Memorial Day weekend, and he's a big basketball fan, you can at least pretend you know what's going on. So why don't we start there in the East? With the team that's already punched their ticket, Mike.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's catch them up on your New York Knicks, who, after a contentious start to the playoffs against the Hawks, in which they lost 2 games to the fighting CJ McCollums, they have been on a legendary tear the rest of the way. If someone was sitting down right now with their future father-in-law at a barbecue, and he said, how about them Knicks? What do they need to know?
Yeah, they're super hot. And, like, for the last couple, like, I know last year I said it a lot. Possibly the year before, I always said, like these Knicks, like, if they play up to their potential and are locked in, I think they can beat anybody in the East. And this year in the playoffs, for once, they're finally doing it. And they're probably exceeding that. They're, like, at a different, like, they're, like, ridiculously hot right now. But, like, the result of that is, like, second in points per game, just slightly behind OKC, first in points allowed, first in three-point percentage at a ridiculous 40.8%, first in field goal percentage. So they've just been on this, like, absolute tear. Now, like, some of those numbers you have to think can't hold up. But, I mean, who knows? I mean, the Hawks, like, initiate, like, they woke something up that's, like, bad. Like, you know, like the ball movement has just been so good for this team. Maybe like what Mike Brown wants to do with his offensive like scheme just like finally kicked in at the end there. And like the crazy part is like I said, you go back to like that ball movement and like they're one of the top teams in assists. They're actually first among teams that are still in the playoffs with their assists per game. And you kind of see that when you look at like, not to, like, I'm going to just throw out a few more numbers and I'll be done with vomiting stats, but like they're 12th in like unassisted 2-pointers, like percentage of their points scored, 7th in unassisted 3-point percentage. So they're like not like getting just a shitload of unassisted baskets. Like they're moving that ball.
Can I give you so first off, once again, if you're sitting down with your father-in-law over Memorial Day weekend, he says, how about them Knicks? The 2 storylines you need to know are, first off, Karl-Anthony Towns finally fitting in, and not only just fitting in, but turning into like a Jokic-style playmaker, although not from the post, from like above the break. Like,
yeah,
Towns has become such a threat to shoot, drive, kick, and rebound that teams don't even know how to defend him. And I get it that it's like, what the hell is Philadelphia going to throw at him? Because they have Andre Drummond and Joel Embiid, who just can't, their feet aren't fast enough to keep up with Cat. But the like playmaking for Karl-Anthony Towns in the playoffs has been so substantially better than what I ever expected to see out of him as someone who followed the first 8 years of his career as a Timberwolves fan. He is leading the Knicks in assists per game in the playoffs, leading them.
Yeah, 6.6 assists per game.
And some of that is because the playoffs fucking started, and after we all questioned where Mikal Bridges is, the guy can't miss a shot. OG Anunoby can't miss a shot, although that's the other storyline to know is OG Anunoby went out with a hamstring injury late in the Philadelphia series, and we He's a little up in the air on when he's going to be back. We don't really know yet. OG Anunoby, very important player for this team. Probably the best defensive player. Not even probably. He's in a tier alone. Then below him is like Josh Hart and Jose Alvarado that are just like sneaky pickpocket style guys. But can I give you my favorite stat to explain how dominant the Knicks have been?
Sure.
In 10 total games for the Knicks, Ariel Hukporty, 63 minutes. Tyler Kolek, 44 minutes. Mohamed Diawara, 35 minutes. Jeremy Sohan, 23 minutes. Now you might say, why are those important stats? It's because those guys are so deep on the bench that 10 games into the playoffs, them having minutes that reflect playing multiple games is outrageous. Like, you're 10 games into the playoffs, and fucking Hukporty has 63 minutes? That's like, Hukporty is Hukporty's the 11th guy on an 8-man rotation.
Yeah. Still love me some Hukporty.
Fucking Jose Alvarado can barely sniff the floor in normal minutes. Yeah. 81 minutes still.
Yeah. And like go back just a second to like your Cat. I literally, one of my notes I wrote down is like Cat found his role on this team. Like we're
That's
not
great
looking
wording for that because we spent all year with him being like, I don't know my role. I don't understand Mike Brown's defense. I don't know what they're supposed to do with me.
Yeah, and now like he doesn't need to be the top scorer, obviously. Like that's Brunson, but like, he's averaging a double-double between points and rebounds. That's what we want. Like you pointed out the assist number, 1.1 blocks, got his defense going. Like we need him to be like that all-around big that can just like dominate inside while also making some plays on the outside, especially when it comes to dropping some dimes, straight baby Dame Lillard style.
Baby Dame Lillard style. I also not to jump forward to the other series, which we'll get to here in a second in the East. It doesn't seem like they're really going to hit much of a speed bump on the way to the finals. I mean, obviously we said that last year when they were going up against the Pacers, and the Pacers ended up winning that one. But they might, like, the rest versus rust question by the time we get to the final might be about, depending on what happens in the Western Conference final between OKC and San Antonio, if San Antonio can somehow stretch that out a little bit. But if they can't, we might have a conversation about how these two teams haven't played competition up to their level in like 2 months. Yeah.
And usually I wouldn't, because the Knicks are so hot right now, I wouldn't like the idea of us having more time off waiting for the Pistons Cavs season to get done, or series to get done. But the OG situation is like the one reason why I'm actually happy to have this extra time off.
Yeah. And the last update was from yesterday saying that they are expecting him to be ready for the start of the Eastern Conference Finals, barring a setback. If you want my opinion, just treat it like Pistons Cavs goes 7, and just don't even play OG until Game 2 if that series ends tonight.
Yeah.
Just let him sit out one more game. Make sure that he is as close to 100% as you're going to get without taking an offseason off, because the Knicks so desperately need OG Anunoby as a lengthy wing athletic defender and just a knockdown 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
To be the finals contender level team.
Yeah, whenever people bring up like the Mikal Bridges trade, and how we gave up so much for him, I'm like, hey, yo, that OG trade though. Nailed that, don't
It is wild how effective a Towns Brunson pick and roll is now that Towns has just become a ridiculously good creator.
Yeah. Like
if you are at the top of the key, say, just to take an example from the last round, say you're VJ Edgecombe and you're on Jalen Brunson and Embiid's playing drop, Towns comes up to the top to put you in a pick and roll. First off, Embiid does not have enough speed to pick either side of that correctly, so they're just going to leave him in the paint. Yeah. If you are VJ Edgecombe, there is no correct answer. Because if you go over the screen, Jalen Brunson's just going to go downhill and kick out. If you go under the screen, Brunson's going to hit an open shot. If you switch, you have Towns, who is much bigger on VJ Edgecombe, and then you have the same problem where Towns can hit a shot at the top of the key. He can pass from the top of the key. Or if you just like fight through the screen, and stay attached to him, slow-ass Joel Embiid has nothing he can do. Towns is then open outside the three-point line and once again can swing, or can hit an open three. Like, there was just no correct answer for a Cat Brunson pick and roll in that last round. And there'll be more correct answers against either the Cavs or the Pistons, and definitely against OKC. But it was just crazy to watch, and I was like, this feels unsolvable right now for this team.
I'm curious on, let's see, just because you pointed out the bench minutes. Brunson's at 34.7 minutes a game.
If this was the regular season and this team had been playing the way they were, Brunson would be at 28. He's at 34 because it's the playoffs, and coaches are going to get, especially in New York, they're going to get raked over the coals if they pull their starters after 28 minutes and then the game's even remotely close.
Yeah.
You see while Leo was at the Met Gala, Timothy Chalamet was at an away game for the Knicks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet was in Philly for that game while Leo was in the Met Gala. Just can't compete. I don't care what people say about opera. I think everything Timothy Chalamet says is right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll stand by that no matter what he says.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's continue on. Let's stay in the East with the other matchup here. Last year's Eastern Conference 1 seed against this year's Eastern Conference 1 seed. Pistons, Cavs, both these teams, for once again, those of you over Memorial Day, talking to, you know what? Talking to your future lesbian wife's mother. How about that?
Yeah. Okay.
And she says, how about them Pistons? First off, do a double take, because no one should ever say, how about them Pistons?
No.
But let's start here. Let's start with the Pistons' path to get to this spot. Phenomenal regular season. End up with the 1 seed. Jalen Brunson breakout season. Cade Cunningham, moves into the top echelon of guards season. He ascends season. They get very good play out of their Malik Beasley replacement, Duncan Robinson. They have tons of guys that just play like hard-nosed shutdown defense constantly in Ausar Thompson, Isaiah Stewart. Who's the other guy? The other guy that's like, he looks like mini Isaiah Stewart. Dennis Jenkins. Tobias Harris finally figured out how to play basketball. He's been really good. And you get like legitimately good production from players like Ron Holland and Javonte Green and B-Ball Paul. You end up with the 1 seed. Then in the first round, you catch an 8 seed Orlando Magic team who looked completely dead on arrival until their play-in game against the Charlotte Hornets. But still, they look terrible all year. And what happens? They go up 3-1 on you.
Yeah.
Now,
push you to 7.
The Pistons fight back, including a Game 6 shooting slump by the Magic that may never be replicated.
No,
the Magic, like it must have been statistically impossible. Like in the MLB, you can bet on what the next pitch will be before every pitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should have opened up an entire slate of bets for that was just, will the next basket go in for the Orlando Magic? Yes or no? Because it at a certain point, it became statistically impossible how many shots in a row the Magic missed.
Yeah, I feel like that series, they jump out to that lead, and they were playing. Obviously, they're the Magic, so they were playing great defense, and they were fine. It's not like they were just super hot offensively, but I feel like they were playing a little better than we saw in the regular season. And then
definitely early in the series,
yeah, and then that game came, and it was just brutal.
But you gotta give the Pistons credit. Fighting back from 3-1 is no easy feat. They were only the 12th or 13th team in NBA history to do it. They get back, and then they catch the Cavs in the next round. The Cavs just played around with their food against Toronto for too long. That series also ended up going 7. Both these teams are incredibly uninspiring, is the only way I can really put it. And then this series, it's just been a question of who's going to show up and who's not. Jalen Brunson, who has had this breakout season, he's an all-NBA caliber player in his 3rd year in the league, has been just MIA the whole playoffs. Like, this guy was like an energy, 18, 11, and 5 guy. He was getting blocks at the rim. I mean, the dude looks like, just like his size and his width, he looks like if Shaq was in shape for even literally 20 minutes. Like, he's just big and he's physical and he doesn't have the athleticism of Shaq, so he's not that guy, but he just like, he looks imposing. And yet he's gone full, not to cross our streams here and jump over the Cavs too soon. He's gone full Evan Mobley mode. Like, I'm just out there, I got my binoculars looking for him, man. He just disappears. It's like, okay, Jalen Duren's not doing anything. Dennis Jenkins is Dennis Jenkins. Duncan Robinson's going to hit shots sometimes, but I guess we're just going to throw 3 players at Cade Cunningham, and sometimes that works.
Yeah. I feel like the biggest thing for the Pistons that's just been unfortunate, and yeah, to go back to my team, it's reminded me of part of why the Knicks got eliminated the last couple of seasons in the playoffs. Like, their offense has just gone cold. Like, they're shooting sub 50%. Their points per game average is 12.8 points lower than the regular season, and like they've just kind of gone cold offensively, like you kind of alluded to. And I feel like sometimes like Cade's turnovers are up compared to the regular season, and I feel like sometimes he may feel the need to go Superman because like he is the guy, he is the top player, and so he feels that need to make it happen himself.
I would argue he justifiably feels that way.
Yeah, justifiably, because he's not getting that much help. Outside of like Tobias Harris, it's like, where are we going to get some more scoring to try to make this happen? It's just not working. And to be fair, even though they won those 3 straight games to come back in the Orlando Magic series, I don't know why I just didn't say the Magic series.
Orlando Magic.
Orlando
well,
Magic
this it's the lapsed fan. We got to make sure they know that the Magic are still in Orlando.
That's true. They still went down 3-1. And had to go to a game 7. So it's a fair thing to say in that, like, coming out of that series, it would be fair to think about the Pistons and be like, oh, they're the 1 seed, but they're looking shaky, brother.
Yeah, and they've lost 3 straight. They've lost 3 straight to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Right. They jumped out to that 2-0 lead and then just kind of, it has been rough. And it's not even like...
We need to talk about how much of a disaster overall Game 5 was.
Oh, yeah.
So, first off, the Pistons get out to like a 9-point lead with 2 minutes left. Like, they go on a 10-0 run. They get way up on Cleveland. And then they just fumble it away, including a last-second possession where both Jared Allen and Ausar Thompson of the Pistons, Jared Allen of the Cavaliers, go for a ball. Jared Allen obviously knocks over Ausar Thompson, and Tony Brothers says that it was incidental contact or some shit. It's a side out for Cleveland, who inbounds as time expires and we go to overtime. And then Cleveland just kind of runs them off the floor in overtime. But that game, I don't know how much of this game you caught in real time. It was awful. It was a terrible game. It was constant whistles. The runtime of the game was 2 hours and 52 minutes. 2 hours, 52 minutes. Their previous long in the series was 2:40. So this 12 minutes longer of a game. Their average length per game in the series had been 2:29 and 30 seconds. So this was almost a half hour longer than their than their average for the series so far. And for people at home to go, well, it went to overtime. It's NBA overtime. It's 5 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
What if they did sudden death, next basket wins?
Oh my God.
That'd be wild.
That'd be great. I would, and then it was the opposite. The NHL just did 10 minutes, as many goals as you can score.
Yeah. Like, if they did sudden death in the NBA, that tip-off would become, like, the most important moment.
But this, like, Detroit kind of got here by just playing harder than everyone else for the entire regular season. And then when it turns out they don't have the same advantages, right? Like, you know, Cade's under 50% from the field for a game. And Jalen Duren, like I said, we're outside. We got our binoculars. We're looking for him. We're looking everywhere for him. Eventually, we will find Jalen Duren.
Yeah, he did have this one. He did have one steal in that game, though. I'm sure he popped out on that play.
That's
really stood out, that one play. Yeah, dude. That game 5 is like an example of like Tobias Harris wasn't as much of an impact, and so like Cade had to pop off for 39, but he had 6 turnovers, which is just more than he usually would have had.
It was a really good Ausar Thompson game.
When this team is clicking.
And that was mostly because Ausar Thompson spent most of the game guarded by James Harden. So he's just driving to the bucket.
I
mean, not over and over. He was really good defensively in the game. But yeah, like this Detroit team, they got here just night in and night out playing hard, and that doesn't carry in the playoffs when you don't have the talent. And they're starting to hit more talented teams. Like, I like Orlando because I'm buddies with Tyler Carcar of the podcast.
I root for Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando was down Franz Wagner, which means that they needed Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, and Paolo Banchero to outplay this Pistons team. And they just didn't have the guns for it. They didn't have the shooting for it. Jalen Suggs turned into, I don't know, Game 7 James Harden. He turned into a complete pumpkin in that series. So they just couldn't run with him. And now they're playing a little bit harder competition. Everyone's showing up to play every night, unless your name is why can't it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Jalen Durant?
No. It's so dumb. But Donovan Mitchell's name has been replaced in my head by Davion Mitchell because they both wear 45. So now
Really?
the lesser Mitchell, Davion Mitchell, is the default Mitchell in my head.
Did Davion Mitchell think that would get him like a bigger like contract? Because teams would be like, yeah, I think that is
Mitchell 45, yeah.
Yeah.
But unless your name's Donovan Mitchell or James Harden, like everyone on this Cavs team is showing up to play every night. And you don't have the effort advantage anymore, and now you're relying way too much on Dennis Jenkins, who just, he's like an undrafted free agent, I think, or maybe a second rounder who's there because he's not substantially athletic, and he's also not, Nikola Jokic, so.
And if, like, we're going to keep it a buck, like, we're going to do our, like, pre-actions for tonight's game, obviously at the end of the pod, but you're up 2-0, you lose 2 straight games, the series gets tied, and then you blow a lead in game 5, push it to overtime, but then lose. Like, that's a backbreaker, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were up a lot. And then it all kind of fell apart. They really need to win the next 2 games and stay alive in these playoffs. They're going to need Jalen Duren to return, I assume, from injury. I assume he's not out there, right? Like, he's been hurt for these playoffs.
He has to have been.
He must have torn his ACL, and he just hasn't been out there. But to stay on theme with the making sure that this allows people to talk to their lesbian wife's mother, who's also a lesbian, over Memorial Day weekend.
You know
about basketball, even if you don't watch. I do just want to clarify that Jalen Duren is not injured. That was a joke.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, if she was like, how about them Pistons? I'd be like, dude, we need more like Kevin Huter. Like, that's the problem. They need more Huter minutes.
First off, it's pronounced Herter.
Nah, I like Huter better. Kevin Huter.
Second, Kevin Herter tried his best to throw up a trillion at the last game, but he did get an assist. So unfortunately, we don't get the 7s or the 0s across all the stat categories. You know what? That's a good thing, though. That's a good for each of these from now on. We should do. What are you going to say to your lesbian wife's lesbian mother on the Memorial Day cookout when she asks about basketball?
I think so.
Let's flip over to the other side of this. Let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, who last year were the 1 seed and got eliminated in summary fashion in the second round, I think, in 7 games. I can't even remember anymore. It's been so long. Who'd they play? Did they get eliminated by the Knicks?
No, I think that was the year before, right?
Oh, they got eliminated by the Magic.
Oh, damn. Feisty those Magic, baby.
They were better last year. Let me double check that. Let's double check that. Or not. I'm not even gonna bother. They got eliminated by someone. But this year, not the 1 seed, played Toronto in the first round in a series that shouldn't have been as back and forth as it was, but it was quite back and forth, leaving us to ask questions about Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, and James Harden, and roster construction, and fucking Max Strus, and Sam Merrill, and all these people you shouldn't be spending a ton of time thinking about when your lesbian wife's lesbian mother asks you about this. But the important thing to know about that first round series and what Cleveland did is that in a game 7, Mike, James Harden scored 18 points.
God dang.
And I think we should all be very proud of him for that.
I'm so proud of him.
He went 3 for 9 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, but he went 11 for 13 at the stripe. And if that isn't the most James Harden stat line you'll ever hear, then I don't know what to tell you.
Prime Harden that game.
Prime Harden. Obviously, we've already covered the Detroit series with them a little bit. They lose the first 2 games and have won 3 straight. And the big storyline has been that James Harden and Donovan Mitchell each only show up for one half of the game at a time. Where, I mean, Game 5 was a great example of it, where like, or maybe it was Game 4 also, where Donovan Mitchell had like 2 points at half and ended up with somewhere between 30 and 40 points each game. Mm-hmm. And so he had 21 in Game 5. But in Game 4, he's terrible in the first half, a no-show. But, and this is great life advice, if something's going horribly, just make sure the last moment is good and everyone will only remember it as good. Right. Because Donovan Mitchell, after playing like complete garbage crap in the first half, has an explosive 39-point half, ends up with 43 points in the game. In a game that Cleveland won by 9. So, Mike, if your lesbian wife's lesbian mother was asking you on Memorial Day weekend, how about them Cavs? What would be your response?
I feel like they're, I mean, you kind of alluded to it with, like, the poor play of, like, Jalen Brunson, but, like, I feel like they are beating them up inside. Like,
yeah, especially Jared Allen.
And Evan Mobley, are taking over, like, in the paint. And it's such a big thing. Both of them are averaging over, like, 7 boards a game right now. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah, Evan Mobley, it's crazy because Evan Mobley, like a season ago, was future of the league, defensive player of the year, Evan Mobley. And now it's like Evan Mobley, solid third guy on this team behind James Harden. Like, Evan Mobley, he had an outrageously good, it was Game 4 or Game 5, I can't even remember now. But he was all over the place in one of the last 2 games. Had a shitload of blocks, shitload of steals, just like a complete defensive animal. Hit as many shots as he needed to. And then kind of outside of that, it's been like sometimes Evan Mobley's there offensively, sometimes he's not. Sometimes he's there defensively, sometimes he's not, which has kind of been the storyline of these Cavs, where they just kind of fade in and out. They're ethereal. It's like they're phase shifting. Like, you just can't get 48 consistent minutes out of anyone on the Cavs outside of Max Strus, who's just going to do like Max Strus stuff.
Max Strus shit.
So in the Memorial Day situation, if someone was to say, how about them Cavs? I'd be like, man, I'd love more consistency out of their top players, but a win's a win, you know?
True.
Like, they're getting enough to be up one game in the series out of Evan Mobley, out of James Harden, out of Donovan Mitchell, out of Jared Allen, out of Max Strus. But, like, this team was like the 1 seed a season ago. You have an incredibly high payroll. You made a win now trade by flipping James Harden or Darius Garland for James Harden. You want to see like a little bit more out of these guys sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of like during commercial breaks, the team like huddles up and they're like, all right, which one of us is going to be hot right now? Because we can't have multiple of us play. We can't have multiple of us playing good. That's ridiculous.
By the way, already, Donovan Mitchell has hit his career high in playoff games played in this playoffs.
Damn.
He's at 12. His previous high was his rookie season in Utah when they played 11. They made the conference finals that season, I believe, but he only played 11 games. Now 12 games played, and I would wager to guess they're going to go to a game 7 here, which means that by the time that they end up in New York, they're going to have played 14 games versus the Knicks 8. Wait, sorry, 10.
Yeah, because we went to 6. I feel like totally random thought, but I could see myself being an old man and I'll overhear some kids talking about like basketball. I'm just gonna chime in and be like, "Let me tell you a story of when Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray off in the playoffs."
I think that's carried a lot of water for Donovan Mitchell. Is that we all remember that playoff when it was like 50-point games back and forth.
Yeah.
And he's like always good, But just, man, this year it's been like, all right, when you taking over, any second now, Donovan Mitchell taking over, any second, watching my clock, here we go, taking over, is it time, is he taking, nope, okay, I'll wait a little bit longer, wait for the hand to come back around, all right, nope, still not Donovan Mitchell time, let me keep watching.
Probably because 45 is a terrible number.
I like weird numbers. Like, I might cut this from the podcast, because one of my least favorite things is when sports podcasters talk about video games, but you and I have been discussing our creative characters in Chell a lot recently. I went with number 33.
That's a good number.
I like weird numbers. I like odd numbers you don't see a lot. Like any player who comes into the NBA now wearing 23, I'm like, okay, yeah, I've seen it. Any quarterback coming into the NFL wearing 11, 18, or 7, I'm like, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. I feel like even though it's basketball, when you're like Donovan Mitchell wears 45, I'm like, oh, so he's a fullback.
That is true. Like if I saw a skinny guy wearing 45, I'd be like, what are you doing? You don't have enough weight to wear 45.
Yeah.
You got to put on like another 15, 20 pounds of pure muscle.
Right.
I always think that Evan Mobley looks even skinnier. Like he's a skinny dude, but he looks even skinnier because he wears 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want me to take Evan Mobley seriously as like a defensive big, you got to give him a double-digit number. Give him 14. Give him 41. Just like throw another number on there, and I'll take him more seriously.
Right. You're just like at 4. I think you're supposed to be a guard. What are you doing?
Yeah, and it just like you just even look skinnier, man. Like somehow you look skinnier than Wembenyama. Speaking of Wembenyama, do you have any more thoughts on this? Either of these teams or this series, or can we jump over to the Western Conference?
Let's jump to the West.
Let's jump to the West, and we'll start with the team that burned its way through their side of the bracket, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, if you are at, once again, this lesbian getaway camp with your lesbian wife and your lesbian mother-in-law, and she's cooking a half rack of ribs on the grill, and you walk over drinking Coors Light, a Memorial Day beer to you?
Is it a lesbian beer? I don't know. Oh, you said Memorial Day
Memorial
beer.
Day. What's a lesbian beer? You think like I think a Coors is more of like a winter beer. So let's go with the Blue Moon.
Like Coors. I feel like I think of Coors as like a cookout, like it's hot outside.
How about a Corona? Meet halfway. Corona work for you?
Oh yeah, Corona. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So you walk over, you're drinking your Corona. You got the lime in there, and at this lesbian getaway camp with your lesbian barbecue and your lesbian wife and your lesbian mother-in-law, and she turns to you and goes, "How about them Thunder?"
Yeah.
The first thing you need to mention is AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell, who's getting paid $3 million a year and has just fucking market corrected the shit at a J-Dub. Like, J-Dub is supposed to be the number 2 guy or number 3 guy, depending on your Chet Holmgren stock.
Mm-hmm.
And $3 million a year, AJ Mitchell has just gone on a complete tear. He has been very good defensively. I would say like a half tier below the Lou Dort level defensively, half tier below the Alex Caruso defensively, a full tier below Shai Gill. But he has been very good defensively. He has improved his handle so much year over year. He is shooting the ball better. He is a better passer. Just there is a guy who was on a 2-way contract who got a chance and grabbed the reins and did not let go. And now poor J-Dub is going to get shipped to, I don't know, fucking Utah. Because they don't need him. And AJ Mitchell makes so much less. And that's going to allow them to keep players on their payroll who have a bigger role.
I feel like that's a sign of a good team. In hockey as well.
Was that your first clue that OKC was good? Was AJ Mitchell?
I'm just saying.
Okay, just checking.
Okay, I shouldn't say a sign. It's a characteristic of good teams. Also in hockey, like you have that dude who shows up, especially in the playoffs, and people are like, "That fucking guy. That's the guy that team beat us. Like the reason that team beat us. Come on."
Your Logan Stankovens.
Yeah, your Stanks, your Taylor Halls,
your Alex Newhooks.
How dare you say his name?
I almost made a short out of our last podcast talking about Alex Newhook, but you went in so hard. I was like, I don't know if I could put this on YouTube as a short.
J-Dub is the Thunder's number 2, by the way. That's what I believe.
Not for long. They're like I said, they're trading him. They're trading him to Toronto for Jakob Poeltl and 19 first-round picks or something.
Trade him to Portland.
Scoot Henderson for J-Dub. Who says no?
All right.
Yeah. Portland can't even get sell their fucking team.
Mm-hmm.
And their coach keeps getting arrested for gambling. So. The other story is obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been so good for so long that it's just fucking boring now. I mean, like, we haven't even seen OKC play in several days. And, anyone who talks about OKC, like, they're not even going to mention Shai Gil, who had, like, an okay series against LA, like, not up to his standards. He scored 35, 23, and 22. Obviously, his assist numbers are always good. It was on efficient shooting, and his defense is great. But, like, he had one of those games. It's like, Shai Gil against the Lakers, but kind of it was also like they didn't need him. Like, he scored 35 in game 4, which was the only game that even like could even smell close. It was a 5-point game at the end. Everyone's favorite white guy in the league, Austin Reeves, missed an open shot that would have tied it, and then down to the other end, I was like, I don't know who fucking knows. Fucking Topic hits a layup and ends it, or whoever it was. We'll say AJ Mitchell dunked it. I can't remember now who scored the last basket, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's getting to the line a ton. He'll get to the line a ton in the next round. Doesn't matter if they play the Timberwolves, the Spurs. It doesn't matter if they play the 2001 Pistons. It doesn't matter if they played the 1999 Oakland Raiders. They could be playing anyone, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to get to the line so much. That's just, when you're at your Memorial Day picnic drinking your Corona, she turns to you and says, "How about the Thunder?" You just go, "Boring." We've already talked about all of it. Yeah, I mean, that's why AJ Mitchell is a storyline, because we've talked about Shai Gil to death. We've talked about Chet Holmgren versus Wemby to death. We've talked about J-Dub and his injuries to death. We've talked about J-Dub without his injuries to death. We've talked about Alex Caruso, Lou Dort. We've talked about Aaron Wiggins. At least AJ Mitchell's a new thing to talk about for a while. But outside of that, it's like, these guys have been around. They're going to win this championship. I think no question they're walking away with the ring this year. The first question mark pops up next year with them against the Spurs. And even then, if Wemby, gets hurt after I hack his legs off with a saw, or if he contracts some kind of deadly disease after I poison his food, or if he gets more blood clots after I start injecting him in his sleep with blood clotiner, a drug I have developed, OKC has a free pass to a third straight championship. There's no one really in their league.
Slow down.
You'd think OG Anunoby with an injured hamstring and Karl Anthony Towns are going to really slow down this Oklahoma City Thunder?
Yeah, I think Mitchell Robinson is going to make Chet Holmgren quit basketball. That's what I think. But
by fouling him over and over again?
The Knicks are hot. And then also, I just want to point this out. I know regular season's different. The Spurs were 4-1 against the Thunder in the regular season.
Yeah, regular season's different.
Won all 4 games by double digits. I'm just saying.
Regular season's different. Listen, man.
Could that because this?
We'll get to the Spurs team.
Chet can't handle Wemby, which is a fair thing to say.
Chet's the closest thing to someone that can handle Wemby, and yes, he still cannot handle Wemby.
Right. Just like two string beans slamming up against each other.
It's like a giraffe fight. Like, have you ever seen giraffes fight? Yeah. They just hit each other with their necks.
Slam their necks, yeah.
But what would you say to someone if you haven't watched a second of basketball and you want a podcast to give you advice on what to say to someone at a cookout on Memorial Day, and they ask about the Thunder? What would you say?
I'd say they're the new Warriors.
They're like the Warriors if the Warriors were less fun during their run. Because the thing about Steph Curry is never going to be the GOAT, right? No matter how many animated movies he makes called GOAT. He's never going to be the greatest of all time because he just doesn't have the defensive prowess. He's not going to have the longevity. He's smaller. He's not as athletically stunning as MJ or LeBron were.
Greatest Steph Curry of all time, though.
He's the greatest shooter, and he's just the most fun player I've ever watched play basketball.
Yeah.
Like, one of my glowing moments as a hardcore basketball fan was the gold medal game last Summer Olympics when Steph Curry went just nuclear against France and just couldn't fucking miss. Just coming off screens and knocking down shots. Because it was the first time I was emotionally invested in a Steph Curry win.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an incredible moment in my life. And Warriors fans got to live through that. I don't even know if Oklahoma City fans are like, yeah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's fun. I mean, like the guy is an incredibly efficient player. He is a great leader. He's like Tim Duncan crossed with James Harden, and that is an incredible player. And the guy deserves all the awards he's getting. But he is the best foul baiter in the league, and that's part of what gets him here.
Is he like prime James Harden with rings? I was gonna call him that.
Like the reason I say Tim Duncan is because he's like more locked in defensively. He's a better leader. Like he's not going to be at the strip club eating chicken wings until the flight to Milwaukee.
How dare you invoke the name of the fundamental and compare him to Shai Gil? How dare you?
Listen, I kind of dragged it down a little bit with the James Harden comp, so it evens out.
Yeah, evens out.
How many MVPs did Tim Duncan win?
He did win one, didn't he?
I think it was just one, wasn't it?
I think so, maybe. I don't know.
Which means Shai Gil's already got him doubled up. He won two. He won two MVPs.
Okay.
Anyways, that's the Thunder. But we managed to get a lot of time talking about the Thunder by talking about how boring they are. So
I'm taking the field. You get the Thunder. All right.
For next year?
No, for this year.
For this year? All right, you got a deal.
Mm-hmm.
The winner gets $95,000.
Paid in installments over the next 25 years.
You think you could pay me $95,000 over the next 25 years?
I'll probably be dead in 25 years. Joke's on you.
You think I won't collect from your family? I'll break their fucking kneecaps to get my money. But moving down the bracket a little bit, we have Spurs, the 2 seed, versus the Timberwolves. Game 6 tonight. Spurs are up 3-2. Let's start with the Timberwolves. It is Monday, May 25th, Memorial Day. You're drinking your Corona. You got a lime in there. You're surrounded by lesbians, all friends and family. Your lesbian stepmom turns to you and says, how about them Timberwolves? What should be your first response? As someone who doesn't watch basketball.
I mean, I feel like I'm saying they're just not they're not consistent. Some of their guys on their team, like you never know what you're gonna get from Randall. It's always a coin flip.
It has been a tough series for Randall.
Yeah, the coin's not flipping the way you want it.
Yeah, I would say just simply injuries are a bitch with this one. If you just want to get in and out of the conversation with just people head nodding so you don't have to talk about it too much, just go with injuries are a bitch and just move on with your life. If you want to go a little bit more in depth, the consistency has been a problem. I mean, like Anthony Edwards is playing about as well as you can on 2 injured knees. Like the guy's doing everything in his power. In that game 4, he has 25 points in the 4th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
To bring them back, although Wemby got tossed and it still took an incredible Anthony Edwards 4th quarter to win, which is why I mean, there was moments before that where I knew the Timberwolves weren't winning the series. Par example in game 2. But that was the moment where I was like, oh, there's no chance. Like Wemby's been out this entire game and we got lucky that Keldon Johnson missed a 3 at the end.
Yeah.
So,
You ever see? Well, I guess first I would say this is like my lesbian mother-in-law said to me.
Why does it sound weird when you say it? It sounds really cool when I say it. Why does it sound weird when you say it?
All right. Would be like, yeah, how about those Timberwolves? I feel like the first thing I would say, and you may push back on this because you've watched them all season. But every time I watch them, like in this series, I feel like I've been like, that's so much Terrence Shannon Jr.
It is a lot of Terrence Shannon Jr.
This is too much Terrence Shannon Jr.
Now, part of that is TSJ is like he's like Anthony Edwards athletic, and so they're just trying to beat people on the dribble. The problem is that Victor Wembanyama's in the middle, and Terrence Shannon Jr. can't hit the broadside of the barn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for the season, he is shooting pretty well from three, but Terrence Shannon's not a three-point shooter. He never has been. We'll see if he ever develops into one. But in the playoffs, he's shooting 24% from three. And so everything that he wants to do is on a drive. And when you are driving directly into the arms of a 7'8" French wall, it's just not going to work. And that's Shannon's game, man. That effort and defense are what he brings. I think we'd be getting a lot less Terrence Shannon if it wasn't for Dante DiVincenzo going out with a torn Achilles against Denver. Which
that was a bitch.
Is the other thing. Like I said, if you just want to get in and out of the conversation with your lesbian stepmom, you say, injuries are a bitch. And then a lot of the people at this particular party are going to get on your case about using bitch as a pejorative term. Just a heads up. But you already said it. It's too late. You got out of the conversation, and you're onto a different conversation that probably is just about as fun as trying to make your lesbian stepmom think you know ball. Mm-hmm. But the other thing with it is, like, there's just so little the Timberwolves can do with the different injuries they've had weighing them down because of the things that's taken out of their lineup. Like Anthony Edwards, he's not fully Anthony Edwards. He's playing very well still, especially in games 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. He's playing very well for what he can do with his ground beef ass knees. Dante's hurt, which is bumping Terrence Shannon up and also hurting the shooting in the lineup. And Ayo Dosunmu, who had that crazy game 4 against Denver, where he scored 45 points, 43 points, whatever it was, is also kind of dealing with an injury, and he's like the ball handler and the athlete, but he's not fully there, and he's not hitting shots, and he's just become a little bit more blend into the background. But most of all, the thing affecting this team that is driving me personally up a wall is that they have now had 2 postseasons, and especially in this series, 5 games of Anthony Edwards getting hard doubled by good defensive perimeter guys, and they still do not have a solution. Every time Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle hard double Anthony Edwards, why do you not have a plan from there? They have so many turnovers where Anthony Edwards gets it over half court. He gets hard doubled by those exact 2 guys. Yeah. And they're just, everyone else is standing around. Like, where's the plan, Finch? Where's the plan for the hard double that you know is coming? Same thing happened 2 seasons ago against the Mavs. Same thing happened last season against OKC. How are we this far in? Like, isn't the reason you traded for Ayo to have a guy that Edwards can pass out of a hard double to? Isn't the reason you traded for Julius Randle to have a guy that can play at the top of the key that Edwards can pass to out of a hard double? Hasn't Jaden McDaniels' evolution on offense meant that you can pass to him out of a hard double? Isn't Naz Reid being a knockdown shooter supposed to have the gravity to where you can pass to him out of a hard double? Like, why is this destroying the Timberwolves offense when it seems to be the one problem they keep trying to solve?
I feel like they're getting out coached this series. Would you say that?
I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, Mitch Johnson also has the advantage of having Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper, who are all 3 going to be all defensive level guys.
Yeah.
And it's the same problem that this team has had for so long now. So it's hard to say that Finch is getting out-coached as much as the personnel aren't there. And they, like, the way he's getting out-coached is just like, I just don't know how we still don't have a plan for this hard double shit. It happens over half court right away every time. And it's caused timeouts, it's caused turnovers, and it's caused us to lose games.
I think so. I got 2 more things I want to say on the series. The first one is a question to you as a diehard Timbies fan. That's what we call them. Fuck T-Wolves. The real nickname's Timbies. Is this a series that you are watching and you're saying to yourself, God damn, I wish we still had Cat?
Interesting. I think it unfairly, there's part of me that would like to have Cat, and the reason it's unfair is because Randall has been playing so spectacularly poorly in this series.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if Cat is standing up better to the Wembanyama experience. It helps that he can hit threes and doesn't have to be so paint reliant the way that Randall is. But on the other end of things, I think 4 minutes into the second quarter of every game in the series, Cat has 4 fouls and is on the bench.
And the refs are sick of his shit.
Yeah. And he's making that same face he always makes when he gets called for something. He
Yeah.
probably has an offensive penalty. If just knowing the Karl Anthony Towns experience, if Victor Wembanyama had viciously thrown an elbow at Karl Anthony Towns' throat, Cat would have got ejected from the game for a flagrant 2.
Yeah.
What was
so
your
the other
question?
thing I was going to say is, not question, but like if I was
Got
to
it.
make a cross-sport comparison for this series, and I don't mean to like pile on to your team, but I feel like you've piled on them a good amount, so it's okay. Is that like, you ever watch a football game and it's like it's close in the first like half of it, right? But the one team is having to put together these like hard-nosed like 15, 18 play drives to score, while the other team's coming out in like 6 plays they're scoring.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, this game's close, but like it's not. And I feel like that's kind of comparison to like that first game. You guys really like, you gave them everything you got, even though like Ant only played 25 minutes, but still, and you like get out of there with that 2-point win. And then now it's like that team that's scoring a lot faster is taking over the series.
Right, and also that first game, that was also a great example of how I knew the Timberwolves weren't going to win this, because that first game, it also took De'Aaron Fox and Wemby to combine to go like 3 for 21 from 3.
Terrible Wemby night shooting that game, yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. That it's like the best like actual example I could provide would be it's like Broncos Patriots from the playoffs last year if the Patriots offense had been more effective.
Yeah.
Like the Broncos, they were down their quarterback with injury. They couldn't get anything going. They kept stepping on their own balls, and the Patriots just needed to execute well enough to win. But instead of just executing well enough to win in this series, the Spurs are executing beyond the pale enough to win. Like they are just outplaying the Timberwolves, on top of the fact that the Timberwolves are limping into this series.
Mm-hmm.
But let's flip over to the other team you were talking about there. The number 2 seed in the West, second net rating on the season, the San Antonio Spurs. Mike, lesbian, Memorial Day. What are you saying at the cookout?
I'm saying these Spurs are for real.
Yeah.
These Spurs are for real. They have a legit starting 5 with so many dudes are contributing. They got some guys coming off the bench. I'm a massive like Castle mark. I love me some Stephon Castle.
Yeah, I mean they're top of the lineup. Fox, Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, Julian Champagnie, and Victor Wembanyama. All of those guys are with the like De'Aaron Fox is a replacement level defensive player, but the other 4 guys are all elite defensive players. Then on their bench, Dalen Harper, Keldon Johnson, even Luke Cornett to a level, just because he's like a big loafing center, are all excellent defensive players as well. I mean, Harrison Barnes has barely even sniffed the court in this playoff because they haven't needed, or in this series because they haven't needed him. It is a very, very well constructed team, especially if you're the kind of person with the ethos that defense wins championships. Not that their offense is hurting. I mean, I've never seen Stephon Castle hit so many fucking threes, but not that their offense is hurting. But it's a defensive stalwart team, and it feels so much like a San Antonio team. Is the important thing.
Yeah. Would you say like backcourt of like, I guess I should say backcourt, but like Castle and Vassell are like technically listed as guards, but I feel like they play bigger than that.
Yeah, I think Castle plays more pure guard than Vassell does.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of like over-index into playing long guards.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like even Champagnie is another guy who they probably I don't know what they designate him as, but he's another guy that like isn't really playing guard. He's a longer guard. Dylan Harper, another guy who's got a little bit more length on him. Like they definitely have guys who play bigger than their size and they can guard positions bigger than them, right? Like Castle can survive against McDaniels, who is a guy who is much lengthier than him. It's just Castle plays really good defense, and he's got that hair going on, and the hair does a lot of work for him.
Right. Who are you putting on like assuming the Spurs win this series, who are from the Spurs are you putting on SGA?
I don't know. I think you can kind of shred them with the zone, honestly. Like with this team, just like Wemby in the backcourt. I would kind of want to put probably like a combination of Vassell and Harper on him because I don't want Castle to accrue a lot of fouls, and you just need guys to like hold him on the 3-point line. Because if he gets into the paint, he's going to run into the same problem everyone else does, and that's a 7'8" Frenchman named Victor Wembanyama, who is a half season away from being the best player in the NBA for the next decade.
Right.
So if I'm at Lesbian Memorial Day, and someone says, "How about them Spurs?" I go, "It's Wemby's league, and everyone else is living in it."
Yeah.
I mean, like let's just do 45 seconds on Wemby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's fun to break down the depth pieces, and you're like, depth wins championships. But also like having the defensive player of the year scoring 25 points and shooting 34% from 3 on 5 attempts a game, while being taller than all the humans you've ever met stacked on top of each other. That also wins championships. That also is going to do a lot of good for you. Like Wemby is, when he was coming into the league, it was almost comical how big he is. Just like, and how good his defensive instincts are, how fast his feet are. And that's just like, the more you watch him, it just grows to infuriate you. It seeps into your soul. It turns your heart black because he hits threes. He is a very good passer. He can lob. He can dunk. Like, you could play him with another big and be fine. He's like fucking Stretch Cat with better defense. Like, it is so obnoxious that this guy's in the league. Like, we are a season away from there being one fan base that's happy about Wemby, and the rest of them are sick of him. Because, like, the guy's fucking 22. He's 22 and is going to finish second in the MVP race.
Yeah. That's kind of a big, like, this, like, overall, this Spurs team is relatively young.
Yeah, their veteran stalwarts are what at this point? Luke Cornett, Harrison Barnes,
Jordan McLaughlin, averaging four minutes a game. I think that's their big fan.
Is Jordan McLaughlin even 30 yet?
I don't know. Is he? It's a good question. Jordan McLaughlin is 30. He's exactly 30. Turned 30 last month. I gotta be honest with you, dude. So right now, the Thunder are minus 290 to win the West. The Spurs are plus 240, and I'm really tempted to put some money on that. I'm kind of going 10 toes down on the Spurs team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Like, Wemby's a cheat code, and until teams start building specifically to deal with him, like, even Julius Randle did a pretty good job on him off and on just by being, like, bigger with a lower center of gravity. But if he gets near the paint, he can just hit that fucking, like, Dirk turnaround fadeaway over and over again. But it's not even a fadeaway. It's like, it's almost like the Kareem hook, but like if you turn your entire body around, just because who's going to block him? Like, Rudy Gobert is going to get 1 or 2 miracle blocks on him a series. And that's because Gobert's the only other guy that even can sniff that same height with his arm length.
And also, the Timberwolves are plus 12,500, and I think I'm tempted to put 10 on that just because you would win $1,250. So, like, fuck it. Why not?
All right. Any more thoughts on the Western Conference, Mike?
Nah.
Okay. So here's what I want to do real quick. Let's just go through. Once again, this is the LASPED fans guide for having lesbian lunch at your lesbian mother-in-law's lesbian cookout. So let's go through and just talk about some team names that you're going to be familiar with. And we're just going to do a lightning round. You're going to give me the response if someone says, what about these guys? So we'll start in the Western Conference here. Let's go. Denver Nuggets, eh?
Denver Nuggets, eh? Jokic carried him as far as he could.
Yeah. I would go with, got to stop running into the Timberwolves.
Yeah, that's true. They're kryptonite.
The Los Angeles Lakers.
Luka wasn't playing, so none of it really matters.
I mean, I would go with something Luka centric, like wait till next year when Luka's back. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what his injury was anymore. He was out forever, man. The Golden State Warriors.
Like it's done.
Yeah, time comes for
They
us
need
all.
some serious changes. Yeah.
Let's flip over to the Eastern Conference. Another team name that people know. I know that they were never even in question this season, but once again, we're talking the Last Fan Guide. So we'll start with the Milwaukee Bucks. Someone, at this cookout, someone goes, "Man, the Bucks, right?"
I
assume
probably
this
say
cookout's in
yeah.
Milwaukee.
I'm like, yeah, man. I wonder where Giannis is going to be traded to.
Yeah. Thank God they got rid of Doc Rivers. Shouldn't have paid that much for Miles Turner. Boston, the Celtics.
Sat on their balls in the first round.
Yeah, shouldn't have relied so much on Luka Garza and Neemias Queta. Is there anyone else we want? The Indiana Pacers, just because they were in the final last year.
Dude, props to them for even getting this far, considering injuries and the loss of Miles Turner.
Well, you know what, Mike? Since we're talking about the Pacers, why don't we flip over and talk about the lottery? The lottery happened between our previous basketball podcast and this one. The notable things are that Washington locked in the first overall pick. They had a 14% chance of it. This is before. This is the year before the lottery odds are going to get super flattened, where it's going to be a benefit to you to finish 4-10 in the new lottery odds. That's going to be your best chance at the number 1 overall pick. But Washington grabs the crown on the, they say, generational draft with those top 4 prospects. Even more so with the top 3, depending on your Caleb Wilson stock. But Cameron Boozer, Darren Payne, and AJ DeBansa being the big names on there. Utah, 2nd, moving up a couple spots. Memphis, 3rd. And the Bulls, 4th in a 4-player draft. And since we're talking about Indiana falls to 5. They lose their pick that they had traded with the weird stipulation to get Ivica Zubac, where they said that if the pick falls between like 5 and 10 or 5 and 8 or something, that it goes to the Clippers. And lo and behold, 5th pick in the draft. Mike, you want to just throw out a couple of real quick here? You want to throw one or two winners and losers?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the Wizards, obviously, because finally, after so many years of trying, they got that number 1 overall pick, baby.
You, as a guy who pays zero attention to college basketball,
Yeah.
just want to get your congratulations, Mike. We promoted you to being the GM of the Washington Wizards. It comes with no pay raise. Women will buy you even less drinks at a bar, and you have to listen to a 6-hour John Wall phone call per week. You just get to choose what day it happens on. But you are the GM of the Washington Wizards. Your options are Cameron Boozer, Darren Payne, AJ DeBansa, or Caleb Wilson. Who are you taking?
I mean, like, I feel like DeBansa is the name I've heard the most about this year, but also, like, who didn't love, like, Daddy Boozer?
Yeah, you going with
Carlos
Boozer? Carlos Boozer's kid.
Yeah, so I'd be tempted. To take Booze Jr.
Yeah, I think I go DeBansa a lot. There's been some groundswell for Darren Peterson, which I'm sure you can't go wrong either way. I just like DeBansa.
Dude, that name is so boring. I would never draft a Darren Peterson.
But it's not spelled Darren, Mike. It's spelled Darryn Peterson.
Okay, that shakes up a little bit.
I'll throw out a winner. How about the Los Angeles Clippers? Or even beyond that. Let me say this. The NBA world, for the Clippers not moving way up in the draft and giving their pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder get the Clippers pick at 12, which, mind you, it's going to be a lot better than the Clippers pick is going to be that's going to Dallas. But they get the 12th pick, and instead of moving up and getting a better pick, which would have been bad for all of us. It would have been bad for every single one. If the Clippers had somehow ended up with one of those top 4 guys, between them and San Antonio, I might just switch to being purely a hockey guy for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Which does remind me, Mike, I have a potential announcement at the end of this podcast. Announcement. That does remind me that I forgot that I wanted to do this. Mike, you want to throw out another winner for me?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, the obvious winner is like the Bulls with the 4.5%. Like they jump up pretty good to number 4, and as you kind of mentioned, there's like a big 4 in this draft, so they're within that range.
I cannot tell you how badly this city needs literally one exciting basketball player. Right
Yeah.
now, on the marquee outside of the United Center, I have seen, because they traded away Io DeSumnu, they traded away Kobe White. On the marquee outside the United Center, I have seen Josh Giddey and Matthias Buzelis. Those are the people that are like, come buy tickets. If I was them, I wouldn't even put a player. I would just put 4th pick in the draft. Bam, poster.
Yeah. When Giddy was on the billboard, was there like a promotion, like all girls under 18 get 50% off their tickets?
You see Drake put out 3 albums today?
Yeah, he like 2 years later threw in like a response to Kendrick, and it's like, how many times do you have to teach you this lesson, old man?
The first song on one of those albums was like, it really fucked up my mental health when everyone at the Super Bowl called me a pedophile. And I was like, I mean, yeah, man, maybe don't don't piss off Kendrick Lamar again then.
As like the old what song was it? Can't remember the song, but don't start none, there won't be none. All right, Drake.
Another reason Chicago's a winner is because they also got Portland's pick at 15. So they have 2 picks in the top 15, which I can only hope, in Brooklyn Nets style, they take 2 players at the same position and neither one of them are that effective.
Are they like, are there scouts and like their GM talking, like goes in the meeting, they're like, all right, who can we draft that's good enough to just get us to the play-in?
Yeah, we want to win exactly 41 games. What player is going to get us to 41 games? Mike, give me a loser.
I mean, the Nets, obviously, based on like percentages, to be up there for a chance to get the number 1. That's a tough drop down to 6.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest losers, obviously, the Pacers. We don't really need to touch on that. They only lost their pick between, it was either 5-8 or 5-10, but they only lost their pick in a small window. And they did lose their pick so bad that their owner sent out a tweet apologizing to the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, my only other loser is the Minnesota Timberwolves, who had a weird pick swap with Detroit that now they fall back another 6 spots in the draft on a team that has some desperate needs, and that's just a homer loser. So yeah, that's really all I got from the draft lottery. We aren't big like NBA draft guys, so we'll see what goes on. We'll see as we get closer. I care a lot more once they're in the league, but this is probably all the draft content you're getting out of this podcast.
Yeah.
Mike, we only got one more segment, which is a segment we do on both of our basket episodes called pre-actions, where we are, since the podcast takes some time to edit, we are going to pre-act the games going on tonight. We will start with Cavs Pistons Game 6. The Cavs are up 3-2. The game is in Cleveland. Mike, what is your Friday night pre-action?
I think the story coming out of this one is going to be Donovan Mitchell drops 30 points and James Harden records his 41st career playoff double-double as the Cavs eliminate the number 1 seeded Pistons.
It's fucking wild that you're taking James Harden to have an awesome elimination game.
I said double-double. That's like, it could be 10-10.
Does that count turnovers, or is it only points and assists?
No. Blocks. You could have double-double with blocks. Be getting up there playing that lockdown D.
As far as I can tell, Detroit turns into like an unstoppable force in elimination games because they did it for 3 straight games in the last series. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with I cannot believe Cade dropped 45 in the playoffs.
That's pretty wild.
Pretty wild. Cade's elimination game back against the wall, 45-point game. His most points since their last game when he scored 39 and they lost. The other game tonight, late tip on Prime Video for those of you who can't figure out where it is and you're looking at your TV guide, your little book. Timberwolves, Spurs. Timberwolves, 4.5-point underdog. It is in Minnesota. Mike, what is your Timberwolves Spurs pre-action?
Adam, I love you, so I'm sorry to do this, but I have to keep my journalistic integrity and not be biased. So I'm going to say the headline for this one is going to be Anthony Edwards, 43 points, not enough, as the Spurs eliminate the Timberwolves to advance to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I can't see any situation where Victor Wembanyama doesn't blow this game apart, because after he got tossed in the last game, he came out like a man possessed in Game 5.
Right.
So I'm going to go with Naz Reid in frustration elbows Victor Wembanyama in the neck after getting a step stool. So those are our pre-actions for the action tonight. Hopefully one of us was on point there. Mike, you came oddly close, but just outside in our Minnesota Wild, Colorado Avalanche pre-action.
Yeah, I called overtime.
You called overtime. But that's all I really got here, Mike, unless there's any more NBA notes you want to have.
No.
Okay. Well, I did want to make an announcement, Mike. You yesterday, while watching your Buffalo Sabres, obviously after having a few drinks, started texting me about how I still haven't picked an NHL team.
You could tell.
Yeah, because you threatened to kick me in the shin, which is a drunk Mike-ass threat. So, Mike, I'm offering a threat. The next time you ask me or demand I pick an NHL team, I will officially become a Boston Bruins fan.
At least you have a team then, you coward.
I will buy, right away, a Charlie McAvoy jersey and start swinging a stick at your head. So the next time you ask me,
I demand you pick an NHL team, you coward.
All right, I'm officially a Boston Bruins fan. How do you like that, motherfucker?
It's good. It's a good rivalry between.
There you go. Right? And I hope that now I have to root against the Sabres. I hate your fucking team. They're the worst. I've always hated them. Obviously, we have a stacked rivalry across the two teams. I was rooting for them to lose in 4 games in round 1. Obviously, Charlie McAvoy did nothing wrong. Zach Benson is just a rat, and he's bad at hockey, and he deserved to get hit in the head. Yeah, I hope Tage Thompson loses his left leg.
Not the right one, specifically the left one.
The left one. So go fuck yourself, Mike. Sabres suck. I want Montreal to win in 3 games. But that's all I got, Mike.
Tage could never sing the song "My Left Foot."
He doesn't seem like a singer much to start with. Maybe it's because I assume that he can only communicate in roars and grunts like most pterodactyls. Mike, that's all I got. You got any plugs on the way out the door?
Just the typical stuff. Take it away.
Okay. You can follow us at all our socials. Those are in the show notes below. If you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, regardless of what service you're listening on, first off, thank you. We put a lot of effort and time into these podcasts, so we appreciate anyone who takes some time out of their day, while they're at the grocery store or while they're creeping in the bushes, trying to watch a lesbian barbecue on Memorial Day, that you have listened to this podcast. And it means a lot to us for you to spend any amount of time and effort seeing what we have to say about sports, no matter how dumb our gimmick is, and no matter the fact that now all Boston Bruins fans are pissed off at me that I just picked their team because I wanted to annoy you. But we have a good time here. We're glad to share that with you. If you are listening to the audio version of this, be sure you drop 5 stars or whatever, a thumbs up. Like if there's some weird like concentric circle device that tells you how many circles out of 4 circles we are, fill out all 4 circles. Whatever the rating is, give us the max. If you listen to this podcast on any platform besides Spotify, do me a favor, hop over to your Spotify account. Even if you just have the ad-supported tier, just follow the podcast. They just keep yelling at me, man. I'm tired of every time I upload a podcast, they go, wow, you should have more followers. You know that? With as many listeners as you have, it's amazing how few followers you have. In fact, it's like they started really personalizing it. They're like, the Magic have a better chance of hitting a shot in Game 6 than the amount of followers you have with the amount of listens you get. So please follow us on Spotify so Spotify stops yelling at me. But if you've only listened to the audio version of this and you want to see what we look like, look up the movie Wolves. Wolves. We look like those 2 guys. But if you don't believe us, then you can follow us on YouTube at Talent Alone Podcast. You can see what we're doing over there. We have, for the most part, it's these video podcasts, but we did branch out and do a NFL draft live stream that was a lot of fun. That's archived on there. You can watch us get drunk and for once not threaten to kick each other in the shins while we watch the NFL draft.
Ring the bell. Not ring the bell.
You can check out all of our written work on townalone.com. It's been a little bit of a slow period for that, but I would love to get the website spun a little bit more back up. You can email us at townalonepodcast@gmail.com. Ask us whatever questions you want. Boston Bruins fans out there, Comment. Tell me what I need to give me like the syllabus for what I need to go study now that I'm a Bruins fan to become entrenched in the culture. And be sure to return to this podcast next week where we'll have another hockey episode on Wednesday for the start of the conference championships in the NHL. And Mike, since we don't do shout-outs on this podcast, would you care to guess what Miles Turner said on a podcast with Brianna Stewart about Doc Rivers?
I'm going to guess he said, I liked him, but he was just so bald.
He said that Doc Rivers didn't find anyone, and guys were late to everything, including flights and film time, or the film room, which he included. He included to say there when Brianna Stewart asked him who was the most likely to be late. Miles Turner jumped at the bit to go, Giannis. Giannis is going to show up whenever he wants.
He's so hey, to do that.
No, he's not. You're being a shithead to your fellow teammates. I don't care that the NBA world loves you so much. I dislike Giannis. Giannis, this whole contract thing is annoying me with Giannis, and now the fact that he shows up late to everything, fuck, man, we thought you were better than Embiid, but you're just Embiid. Anyways, let's get out of here.